fallout from the Trump campaign shakeup. Paul Manafort has taken a step back from leading the team. Breitbart's Steve Bannon is now joining as the campaign CEO. And Kellyanne Conway has been promoted to campaign manager. Manafort, he does keep the title of campaign chairman, but his role will be diminished. Now, critics are saying this is more proof that the campaign is struggling to find its footing. But what's really behind the moves? Well, let's go to the Trump new campaign manager herself, because she's here. Kellyanne Conway, congratulations, first and foremost. I've known you for a long time. I think you're a great person, and I think you're probably the right person at the right time. Before we talk about you and the new direction, perhaps, let me just ask you quickly about Paul Manafort. People are curious. Did the Manafort bounce wear off? Were just a clash of styles, or was it this sort of thing that's coming up, this Russian-Ukraine thing that we hear in a lot of the media is starting to bubble up a little bit?
I would actually say for that, Charles, and first of all, thank you very much. That's very gracious of you. I'd say none of the above for this reason. Paul has the exact same title today he had yesterday, and many of those responsibilities. In other words, I think what Paul Manafort and Rick Gates have done over the last 5 or so months in building out this campaign has been phenomenal. They took us to a place where we need to be in this home stretch, but you need to add talent. You need to add more people. It's just a very busy time getting to the last 12 weeks of the campaign.
There's adding talent, you know, on the ground.
That's right.
There's adding talent in the field. And then there's adding talent at the top. There's only one room at the top, and you are at the top position right now. That's clearly, everyone can see that, you know. And whatever happened behind the scenes, you know, again, I think it's great. Now, this is my interpretation of the move. I know your background. I know you worked with Jack Kemp. I think the speech that Donald Trump gave last night was a Jack Kemp type speech, and I think that might have had Kellyanne Conway influence written all over it. Also, your company, the polling company, you've got a subdivision, Women Trends, right? You tell corporate America what women want, how to reach the women. Isn't this a tacit, at least admission, that Donald Trump is way behind with women, but a positive move in the sense that he's going to go after non-white voters and women?
It's a very positive move. I think the last couple of days have been great for Donald Trump, Charles, for exactly the reason that you've pointed out. Back-to-back speeches, first taken on radical Islamic terrorism, calling it what it is, and then showing how we can solve the problem, reminding everybody that the growth and birth of ISIS happened on Obama and Clinton's watch since 2013. 80% of the 33,000 people killed since ISIS and its predecessors started their violence and massacre happened in the last 3 years. And so, you know, we've just created these vacuums in Libya, in Iraq, in Syria, in Egypt. And then yesterday, he follows up the radical Islamic speech with a really tough speech, putting the case directly to Hillary Clinton to prove why, after decades in public service, you've got poverty, you have homelessness, you have crime, you have drugs, you have unemployment. It's not fair to people in these communities, and he's taken the case right to her to say, look, you want to talk about tone and temperament? I'm going to talk about facts and figures. And thank you for the shout out to the late, great Jack Kemp. He was a wonderful mentor to me and many other people. And I'm glad that remnants of Jack Kemp and his philosophies in these enterprise zones and opportunity scholarships are finding their way to the Trump campaign. Too bad lots of the Democratic office holders in our major cities never took Jack Kemp up on his offer to help.
Now, part of the success in the last 48 hours has been tone, I think, with Donald Trump, the way he's giving these speeches. Now, on the other hand, Steve Bannon is now in there. People are calling him a bare-knuckles brawler, the kind of person who will, quote-unquote, let Trump be Trump. Forget about the pivot. Be yourself. Go out there, be bombastic, and be bare-knuckle. How are you guys going to coexist? Because that's not your style. But people say this is the way Donald Trump is going to go through the finish line. Win or lose, he's going to be more of himself and less that managed candidate that Manafort perhaps wanted.
Well, I think you need to look no further than Hillary Clinton to see what happens when you have an inauthentic candidate. Somebody's trying to be something that she is not. I'm for the people, but I made gazillions of dollars in speeches and through the Clinton Foundation and pay for play at the State Department. People want you to be true to yourself. I think that's part of what Donald Trump's big magic has been over the last 14 months, Charles, which is, hey, I'm not a politician, I'm not an elitist, I'm not in the establishment. That's a rigged, corrupt system that benefits the insiders.
But there are pros and cons to this approach, right?
Well, that's correct, but that is him. And so I think when we talk about pivot, Charles, my own view of the pivot is substance. It's not style.
Will you have any veto authority? Will you be able to say, hey, guys, that's too much?
I'm never afraid to speak up. And may I add, for you and the viewers, I'm never afraid to speak up, and my opinion is very much respected. I have seen firsthand, through my own example, but really before me, just legion of women who have been promoted by Donald Trump in the Trump organization. I mean, everybody got a real treat in seeing Ivanka Trump, who is, of course, his daughter, but also his business partner,
sure.
And his mentee at the convention. So, yes, of course, we all speak up. I think he gets great advice from many different people, including Paul Manafort and Rick Gates, and that will continue.
Before I let you go, the major differences, though, I mean, this is a big move. We're at the home stretch. What's going to be the major difference that people will see, that the voters will see?
The major difference, in my view, will be more of what you've seen these last couple of days, which is Donald Trump, and he loves to do, he's comfortable, he's able, he gets up to the teleprompter, he delivers remarks, but he ad-libs in between, and then he makes himself available to the local media, the national media, right. And he also, you know, gets with the people. He loves, that's his oxygen. Right. He loves being at these rallies, loves being with the people. You're going to see him really, you're going to see us very much focus on about 5 to 7 to 8 swing states immediately. Watch for our ads this weekend. Our first ad buys will go up this weekend, Charles, in addition to where are we beefing up our ground game, our data operation, candidate appearances by Mr. Trump and Governor Pence. Take a look at that, the 8 or some swing states.
We will. Kellyanne Conway, once again, congratulations.
Thank you.